My name is Russel Carpenter. I'm a director of photography. I shoot mainstream theatrical features, and then I do a lot of commercials in between. My entry into this business was through the world of documentary filmmaking. I worked a lot for public broadcasting. And then sometime in the 80s, I started to shift over into the world of feature filmmaking. I decided that I really liked telling a story with light. I liked the possibilities of using photography to elicit an emotional response. Looking back at a lot of the films that I've done, I think that some of the more significant ones, of course, have been the larger pictures like Titanic, and I won an Academy Award for that. And that opened up a lot of doors for me, and I appreciate that experience very much. I think as a director of photography, I consider myself to be the director's assistant in that I'm a guardian of the visual intent of the director, and in order to be that, I have to know light and how to manipulate light, how to work with it, how to find the wonders in light, either available or what I call found light, those wonderful accidents that happen that are available to all of us if we just open our eyes, or working very rigidly with light to create a very, very controlled environment in which to tell the story. And in order to do that, I have to study light, and that's something that I've been doing all of my life. Several years ago, I started taking pictures of flowers as sort of a stress management technique, and I found out that flowers came out of their trailer when you wanted them to come out of the trailer, that I could take as much time as I wanted to, and there just weren't the pressures that there were that are incumbent being on a film set when you've got to make a certain amount of setups all day. But what I also learned is that I could create very dramatic effects with very, very simple lighting. Basically, I was using one, maybe two fluorescent lights positioned fairly close to my flowers, and just by moving them this way or that way a little bit, I could discover new worlds in front of the camera. This helped me, it informed the choices that I made when I was back on the set. In the business that I'm in, making mainstream motion pictures, the way that images were gathered for decades was very, very stable, and it was conventionally done with film capture. And that didn't change for years and years and years. But within the last 10 years, we saw the advent of digital cinematography. We saw the Panavision Genesis come along, the Aeroflex coming along with their D21 and now their Alexa. And this is the first time that we are actually looking at a real change in the way motion pictures are made. And then within the last couple of years, there's this added revolution in that Canon has come along with the HDSLR, and this has allowed us to rethink the way we're gathering a lot of what we need for making major motion pictures. For a very reasonable price and in a very small package, elements of major motion pictures can now be captured. And I've started to look at this in a very, very concentrated way, because this is a revolution that's happening very quickly. But even though at this point, and here we are in 2010, I may not say, oh, I'm going to shoot the whole picture on an HDSLR. I can certainly decide I can get many insert shots on an HDSLR. If they're not going to be on the screen for a massive amount of time, I can certainly do driving background plates at a fraction of the cost that I would have had to invest years ago. And now, with the exquisite ability to capture scenes at night, I could do a background plate under moonlight if it's, say, pointed out toward a spectacular ocean view, and save tons on lighting. I have seen images in the current configuration of the camera projected on screens that are 25 feet wide, and I have just been blown away by how close they have come to cameras that cost a lot more. I really love the smoothness. I love the way the sensor renders flesh tones. I think it's very, very film-like. The HDSLR cameras, what Canon has come up with is capable of teaching us new ways to look, especially in terms of the energies that are coming off artificial light at night. These cameras have a remarkable way of seeing and tuning our eyes, and I think that's going to have a major influence on how we work in the future. But what I do see is the gifted cinematographer is picking up these new tools that are coming out and saying, oh my God, look at this palette, look at what we can do now, let's get out there and learn and tell new stories.